Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, Opie faced challenges, including declining intimacy and infidelity. Despite attempts at couples therapy, the partner engaged in physical infidelity, leading to a breakup. He grapples with shame, uncertainty about the future, and seeks advice on coping with the aftermath. Plans for self-improvement include avoiding alcohol and smoking. He ends with a plea for encouragement from those who have experienced similar hardships. Now let's get into the story. We have been together since 2015, and early on I planned for this to be a lifelong relationship. It was rocky along the way, and this is part of the reason I never managed to propose. However, there is still a very mature ring fund which will go somewhere else now, I'm sure. Around 2019, I began to think that maybe our relationship was not going to be like how I had imagined it. We fought a lot. Nothing physical, of course, just disagreements and mutual pouting and discontent. Our intimate life dropped off significantly after 2016 for medical reasons, and it never really seemed to recover. In June of last year, we had a D&M where she said in as many words that I did not satisfy her. I had never satisfied her, and the thought of me in bed made her sick. It was very upsetting at the time, and in hindsight, I shouldn't have called our relationship then. But we decided initially that we would try to work our way through our problems, and we also ended up having a 4-month-long lockdown shortly afterward, so I didn't want to throw her onto the street or anything. Around September, I discovered she had been sexting some guy overseas. A total breach of trust, but I decided I would bracket it because there was nothing physical. And even though we never discussed it openly, I thought she knew that I knew. I never broached this directly, but we eventually decided we would go to couples therapy. I discovered yesterday that she slept with another man in November last year, while she was out of town on a short holiday. Some random she met online, and I presumed she had been chatting with for a few weeks at least. I didn't care to ask for the exact date, but it was either shortly before or shortly after our first couples therapy session. When she went to work today, I left a note on the table saying goodbye, packed a bag, and went to my parents' place for a few days. This evening, after she came home, we had an hour-long SMS-only discussion. I don't want to talk about it aloud. I can't put my words together in time to speak them, where she took responsibility for everything, promised to change, and asked if I would come back. I appreciated her honesty. I believe everything she has said. This was completely unlike her, something she acknowledged, and she is afflicted by both mental illness and gruesome sexual trauma as a child and young adult. But I said that this was a hard barrier for me, and I would not consider coming back even if we continued to seek couples therapy for this issue. I said I would consider going back to our therapist to work through the breakup process, as we had discussed this previously in one of our sessions, and I can see how it could be helpful. It is also something our therapist has worked on. Even if we could make our way past this and she found a way to fix herself, it would always be a part of our past and something I will never be able to reconcile myself with while we were in a relationship. I don't fully believe that there has only been one other man. I asked how many other people she has had intimate with during our relationship, and she said one. But I think this might have been a very strict definition of intimate, and that she has been emotionally and physical cheating with several other men over at least the past 6 months and even up until now. She said that this was a part of her life that felt like it was without consequence, and although that is obviously wrong, I can understand what she was saying. Anyway, the number doesn't matter. One is one too many. I feel very dirty for how I found this all out, especially since I was going by a gut feeling. But I feel partially vindicated by my gut being right. I don't know if I can shake this feeling of shame for having been able to discover this, even though it is for the best that I know, and that we separate. I will likely be moving my appointment with my own therapist forward a few weeks to help with where I go from here. I don't quite know how she moved on from this, but I am trying my best to focus on myself. I don't know what I will do with myself yet because so much of who I am, what I do, and what I'm like revolved around what we were. I picked up my guitar for the first time in a few months and couldn't do much with it. I don't play as much now because I felt embarrassed playing around her. Not her fault. She was always very encouraging of all my creative pursuits. I have a few friends, but I am both a very reserved person and also someone who gets lonely easily. I might need to share because I don't know if living alone is a good idea for me right now. I did say that I hope we can be friends one day, and I really do. Besides the infidelity and our other problems, she's great, and we did gel in a very cool way. But in my heart of hearts, it doesn't seem likely. At the very least, as soon as either one of us starts seeing someone else, unless they're super chill, I don't think it's going to work. I've decided that I'm not going to be super candid with other people about the circumstances of our breakup. There's no need to be, but it's something that I would mention to a future partner, and I can imagine for them that it would be a bit weird for your partner to be friends with their ex who is also a cheater. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. She will likely move to another city, and we won't have much opportunity to see each other again. Anyway, that's my story. There were times the morning when I thought I might try to just let it slide and forget about it. But I'm glad the part of me which stood fast won over, because there was really no future. Knowing this, it would always eat at me. I don't know what the future holds, and I am truly scared because I have had struggles with alcohol and smoking in the past, which my partner really helped me to temper. I stopped smoking as a condition of getting together, which I'm grateful for, maybe with a sneaky cigarette every now and then at the pub, and I don't have that anymore. I have made a short list of things for me to try to do with myself for the next 4 weeks and have committed to not buying any spirits at all for now, and only smoking if I've gone out and someone offers. I don't go out often, so this is generally sustainable for me. If there is anything any of you have done to get past the first few weeks and months of your breakup due to infidelity, I would certainly appreciate any advice if you have made it this far. Thanks a lot for reading. Hope you are getting along your journey all right as well. If you are, then feel free to drop into the comments and let me know that it gets better because I need it. Today's second story. In this story, Opie discovers his wife's infidelity on their honeymoon in Las Vegas. After catching her with another man, he feigns forgiveness to plan his revenge. Following an annulment, he leaves her stranded in Vegas, exposing her actions to friends and family. The wife, remorseful and desperate, struggles to find support. He reflects on the painful experience but acknowledges he avoided a worse fate by not having children with her, using the money he took to recover from the betrayal. Now let's get into the story. I met my wife a few years ago at work. We initially started off as just friends. I was 25 and she was 32. We all went out to celebrate my sister's birthday, and at this point, my future wife, we'll call her Zira, had been dating another coworker for 2 years. Somehow, in the events of the night, Zira and I were left alone and drinking together. She admitted to me that she was about to dump the guy she was with. I saw this as an opportunity, so I confessed my true feelings for her, and she felt the same way. We then started dating. Ever since, we kept it on the down low to avoid drama, but I didn't think our relationship was going to last anyway. Fast forward 3 years later, and the family had accepted that we were together and were helping us plan our wedding. Everything seemed to be falling into place for us to continue our life together. After we got married, I took her to Las Vegas for our honeymoon. Our stay was scheduled to last for 1 week. On the first night there, we were playing at a cards table when Zero went on a winning streak. I wasn't having much luck and didn't want to play against her, so I told her I'd be back in about 30 minutes. When I came back, a man was sitting beside her. He looked very smart and handsome and had apparently bought my wife a drink. I asked him to move down the seat so I could sit next to my new lead wife. He looked distressed but not discouraged. He moved down a seat and we carried on playing. He left at one point, and eventually Zero and I moved to other games in the casino. I saw the same guy again during our vacation. I tried to stay with her the whole week, but on the 3rd and 6th days we separated for a few hours. When we caught up again on the third day, she was happy to show me all the money she won. After dinner on the sixth night, she started complaining of a severe stomachache and told me she'd be in the bathroom for a while before rushing off. I decided to play a little while she was in there and stayed in the same vicinity. 45 minutes later, I was getting anxious. I called into the women's room for her and there was no response. I frantically called her phone and there was no answer. I decided to go back to our hotel room, wondering if somehow she missed me coming out of the bathroom and went to go lay down. She wasn't there. I called her over and over, even checking the location app we share. But all that could tell me was that she was still in the same casino, even though it probably wouldn't get me anywhere. I started knocking on hotel room doors that were close to her location marker on the app. After 3 people answered the door, highly annoyed that I was looking for someone I was about to give up, I decided to knock on one more door. It took a while before a man answered. I asked him if he saw a woman with Zero's description, and as he was telling me off, I saw her come out of the bathroom behind him, fully nude. She was absolutely shocked to see me standing there. I guess she totally forgot about the location app. Since my heart shattered to pieces, I just walked away from them both towards my hotel room. When she called after me, her voice cracked and she begged me to wait for her. I got back to the hotel room and locked the additional locks so that she couldn't open it. While she pounded on the door and cried, my wheels turned. How could she be in another man's hotel room on our honeymoon? I knew I recognized him throughout the week, but how could she decide to sleep with him? Why would she do it? I couldn't breathe and dropped to the floor. I threw up. Zira heard me, and for some reason it made her sob. Even more people were gathering in the hallway watching the show. I decided to let her in so she could explain herself. She tried to jump into my arms, but I pushed her away and asked her if she was a lunatic. I ordered her to sit down and tell me what the hell was going on. She admitted that she got to know him at the cards table on the first night and told him she was married. He didn't care about that and demanded that she meet up with him later so he could show her a good time and win her some money. He gave her his number, which is why he didn't care when I returned to the table. They met up again on the second, third, and of course sixth night. I begged her to tell me why she would do this. Her face twisted into her crying, and she claimed she didn't know that she was a foolish woman who was flattered and impressed by this man. He won her thousands of dollars throughout the week. When he asked her to come up to this hotel room, she didn't hesitate. According to her, he earned a one-time fling. Afterward, she planned to return to me as if nothing was wrong and simply show me the money she won gambling. I put on my best acting face and pretended she was a genius. I told her what she did was worth it for all the money she got from this guy. I told her not to do it again without telling me first, but that I wasn't upset with her anymore. She cried in relief and happiness. It took only minutes for her to fall asleep like all was right with the world. While I snapped into action, I took the $9,754 out of her purse and all of my stuff from the hotel room. I got myself a room at a different hotel. I spent time in a hot tub while I planned my wife's downfall. As soon as my lawyer's office opened, I called him and spoke to him about getting an annulment so that it was as if I was never married to Zira. As soon as I did this, she started calling me over and over again before I blocked her number. She left me 2 voicemails that were mostly unintelligible because of how hard she was crying. She told me she was sorry and she knew what she did was wrong. She asked me to forgive her so that she could love me the way I deserved to be loved. I didn't tell her, but I thought to myself she was supposed to show me that from the beginning, not after she slept with another man on her honeymoon. She'd also mentioned that she didn't have any money to get home. That made me laugh. She had no trouble at all finding a man to win her money. I boarded the flight home without her. It was empowering to leave the person that betrayed me behind in another state. She called her mom and several other family members, asking them for help and telling them I left her there. As soon as they asked why I did that, she didn't have a good explanation. One by one, they got off the phone with her to message me and ask what was going on. I happily explained everything over the internet. While I was on the plane home, she messaged me too, begging me to stop telling everyone that she cheated on me. I replied with, "Maybe you should have thought about what you were doing before doing it." My entire family greeted me at the airport, giving me hugs and support while I handled the betrayal in my heart. No one from my family ever replied to her again. As far as I know, Ziera spent several days wandering around Las Vegas without a place to sleep or shower before her mom saved up enough money to buy her a plane ticket home. Her parents were so disappointed that she was no longer a married woman due to her actions that they could barely speak to her after she moved in with them. That was the last I heard about her. I don't think she has a cell phone right now. Although it was the hardest thing I ever had to go through, I still think I dodged a bullet by not having kids with her. The money I took from her helped me recover from what she did,